I've locked the doors as you requested, Detective Noir.
Yes. And guests who have been cleared?
In the West Wing.
Good.
Except for these guests. They say Christopher Adams requested they speak with you should anything happen to him.
Ah, yes. The amateur detectives. I've heard Christopher Adams encourage your sleuthing. And I know you have had some success assisting with other investigations. Seems like luck more than skill. But since you're here at the victims' invitations, I'll get your thoughts from time to time. Just do not get in my way. When there's a murder, I suspect everyone. So don't think you're off the hook either.
A drink, sir.
Oh, no. Thanks anyway, Mrs. Bell.
Shall I take that to get clean before the stain sets in, sir?
It would only be adding to the water and mud stains I've already acquired tonight on my way in.
Should be able to do something about those as well.
Well, sure then. Thanks.
And the 5 guests that you requested await you in the conservatory, which is just...
Huh? What's that?
I was just going to instruct you on how to find your way to the conservatory, Detective. But it seems you already know your way.
Always keep an eye out, miss. Wise words from my one-eyed Uncle Jimmy.
Indeed, sir.
Where are you going?
Anywhere but here.
It is no use, Miss Skye.
It is of use to me, Miss Ivory. I will not be in this house a moment longer as long as there's a dead body in it.
The front doors are locked. We are birds in a cage now. They will keep us here until someone sings.
Easy fix. Mrs. Bell can open the door. She'll do it for me.
I'm afraid she cannot.
Oh, no need to be afraid. She just has to put the key into the lock and turn it.
I mean, she does not have the key.
How could you possibly know that?
I saw her hand it over.
Who?
Me.
Ah! Sorry. Some tension to get out.
Clearly. And I hate to say, there's going to be more where that came from. Because I'm convinced that in this very room, one of the 5 of you is a... Wait. There's only 4 of you. Where's the 5th one of you?
What's going on in here? I heard screaming.
Captain Amber, just in time. I was just about to say, I'm convinced in this very room, one of the 5 of you is a murderer.
Oh, that's just Mrs. Bell. She has a 6th sense for dramatic statements.
I'll have to have a word with her about that. And this door that was left unlocked. Just, what were you doing in the garden, Captain Amber?
I was getting some fresh air before the next wave of the storm hits. You know I can't be inside for too long. Since the war.
I see. Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to remain in this wing of the house until I get some questions answered.
Why us?
Hey! I'll be the one asking the questions here. Don't none of you try to get wise. We got enough amateur detectives poking their noses around here as it is. But I'll tell you that after talking with everyone else at the party, the 5 of you were the only ones no one can quite remember seeing right as the lights went out.
So we are your prime suspects.
Sorry, chum. Afraid I can't comment on an open investigation with the prime suspects. But you folks won't mind sticking around and helping out, will you? Thanks to the storm, the bridge is out. And the drive is like quicksand. I barely made it through all the mud myself, so no one's going anywhere tonight.
Doesn't sound like we have much of a choice. What would you like to know, detective?
Set the scene for me. Just what was happening before the lights got cut.
Well, it's hard to describe. The light from the chandelier glistened off all the golden jewelry and glasses. It was the party of the year. Everybody who was anybody was there. You could smell the floral notes from the conservatory and taste the delicious anticipation in the smells coming from the kitchen. Canapes and trifles and a variety of artisanal cheeses.
Sounds really hard to describe.
Oh, yes, and let me tell you, the music, it was the Cats' pajamas. But you could barely hear it over all the people talking and dancing, and then it happened.
So, all of you were hidden from view and had the opportunity to kill Christopher Adams. But the question remains, who had the means and the motives? I want to have a little chat with each of you, starting with you, Mrs. Ivory. Ivory. Right. I had it. Mine like a steel trap.
You said Wivery.
No, I didn't.
Didn't he say Wivery?
And that, right there, is why I want the rest of you in separate rooms while I question Mrs. Ivory. I can't have you colluding.
Ooh, that sounds dangerous. What does it mean, Detective?
It means getting your stories straight. And it is dangerous. Jail time dangerous. As is tampering with the evidence. So I want you to keep away from the room you were in when the shots were fired, unless I'm there with you. So, Miss Ivory, where were you?
The kitchen.
Ooh, what about me? I'm Miss Sky. Though you've probably already colluded that because your mind is trapped steel and all. Where should I go?
Where were you at the time of the murder?
The powder room.
You can go to
Might
the...
I suggest the study, Detective? That's where I was. I will go to the powder room. Mr. Verdant and Miss Cardinal can swap their rooms.
You know, you can take the man out of the military, but you can't take the military out of the man. Ain't that right, Captain Amber?
That's right, sir.
Miss Sky, we'll go to the study.
Well,
That one is a bit cuckoo. Anyway, let's vote with a cheer. Who wants to go to the study? Who wants to go to the kitchen? You know, there's still a killer on the loose though, so keep your eyes and ears open. Ah, just in time. Miss Ivory was just about to explain how she knew the victim.
I barely knew him. Not like the others.
Oh, you're innocent, of course.
No, I wouldn't say that. But they are the haves, and I most definitely have not. I'm more likely to smell of cocoa powder than Coco Chanel. I cook when I'm stressed. I'm stressed often. No more husband, no more money, no more house, no more job.
Desperate people do desperate things sometimes.
I've seen your clean, shiny car in the driveway, Detective. If you have time to take care of that, then you know nothing about being desperate.
Now that you mention it, Coco Chanel's number 5 is a very distinctive smell, Miss Ivory. And I smell it quite strongly, not only on you, but all over this counter.
I might have spilled some when he gave it to me.
Who?
Christopher, Mr. Adams.
You know, that's a very expensive gift from a man you barely knew. Is that why you rejected it? He was being too familiar? Or trying to buy your silence, perhaps?
No, it's none of that. I rejected it because it reminded me of when we first met.
These are the best seats for being seen by the right kind of people. Lets them know you're untouchable.
Is that what we want to be, Lord Simon?
Excuse me, Mr. Adams. I'm sorry to bother you, but I need to talk about my debt.
Wait, who are you? How did you get in here? Hang on a minute, Christopher. Let me get the usher. I'll be right back.
This bottle of perfume is the only thing of value that I have left in this world. It would be a wonderful gift for a special lady in your life. I was hoping to trade it.
I have no need of perfumes, but you and your family should keep it.
Here she is. Take her out of here. She needs to go.
Come on, lady.
No, please, just a moment. My husband, Lazarus Ivory, he just passed, and...
Lazarus? I know that name. Ah, Christopher. You claim to know everything, but you don't know who's touching you? She looks all sweet and innocent, but this black widow, her husband died of suspicious circumstances, didn't seem to work out too well for you, sweetheart, did it? Get her out of here.
Come on, let's go.
No!
Oh, I've seen enough. Get her out of here. Sorry about that, Christopher. You'll probably smell like Chanel number 5 for a week. You probably won't mind, though.
It is such a waste. If she hadn't dropped it, she could have at least sold it.
Yeah, we should have sold that, and then we could have given it to the local rescue mission and fed some people. That's what we should have been doing, Christopher.
She was offering it as a gift.
As Miss Cardinal said, such a waste.
Such a waste?
He called you a waste? Turned you away like you were nothing? Less than nothing? No wonder you wanted to bring him down.
No. Miss Cardinal filled me in on the rest later. He berated Lord Simon for his pride, looking down on me when I had come humbly, while Lord Simon raved about his exalted status and pretended to care for the poor.
He defended you?
Better than that. He sent me this beautiful dress and invited me to assist this party as a trial for a new job. But I guess, like everything else, that's gone now too. Though I find it stings less than it did before.
How's that? You had a chance at something, but now you're back to having nothing.
No, not nothing. Christopher taught me that. I used to let what I lost define me. I was the victim of a cruel world, and I was owed repayment. But when I met Christopher, what I wanted changed. He helped me see that I was poisoning myself and looking for others to die, rather than looking for what he saw in me.
It's interesting that you mentioned poisoning. I've heard there's a theory that your husband's death was not so altogether natural.
Not this again. Yes, I was growing the oleander in my garden. It's common enough. In fact, there's some in the conservatory here, Detective. The little white flowers on the table. But Christopher wasn't poisoned. He was shot. And if you're looking for someone handy with a gun, then you should be taking a look at Miss Cardinal.
Ah, yes. You mentioned she was present when you first met the victim. Will she corroborate your story?
I wouldn't know. She fired me not long after that, even knowing how desperately I needed the work. She's heartless, and I once heard her say that she would kill Christopher for what he did to her.
It's interesting.
Oh, hello. You startled me. Everything's just fine, really. I mean, look at this tree out here. Isn't it just the berries? I mean, isn't it wonderful because trees have do berries grow on trees?
What's going on in there?
I say to myself sometimes, what's going on in that tree? Plants are such a mystery, don't you think? Just like this real-life mystery we find ourselves in right now.
Give it up. My jacket's caught in the passage. You're gonna have to let me in.
I can trust you, right?
I know what the detective said, but I just had to come ask you. You were not alone.
Come on in. Everything is just Jake.
What? You know I hate it when you use that lingo. I don't know what it means.
Everything is just fine. They won't rat us out, right?
Okay, good. I guess the secret passage came in handy again for me this time.
You've got to stop reading like this.
That's why I had to come here. I was excited to see you here after all this time, but I have to ask you, what was your relationship with Christopher Adams? I've heard stories of you and other gentlemen.
You and everyone else. But at least I was able to keep them guessing if they were true. That is, until I met Christopher.
How did you meet him?
At the jazz club, late one night. I always went at weird hours to avoid the other flappers and their catty remarks. Someone had started spreading rumors about me, and my reputation was in tatters. That night, he was there, almost like he was waiting for me.
Along about dawn, without a warning, I found he was gone. How could he do it? Why should
Good to see you, Johnny.
You too, Mr. Adams. What can I get you to drink?
That won't be necessary. Excuse me. Could you get me a drink, please? There's a crowd of people following me here, and I won't get a moment's peace once they arrive.
Me? I'm a flapper, but you, sir, look like you could own this club. Why are you asking me for a drink?
If only you knew who you were speaking to, you would ask, and I would give you a drink better than anything that you can get here.
Well, since you asked so nicely, I guess I can get you a drink. What'll it be? Let me guess. A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Tall drink of water will be just fine.
Looks like you already got that covered. But water? Really? Is that the drink that's better than all the rest? What are you, an undercover prohibitionist or something? Don't let Johnny hear. His grandfather opened this place and he's pretty protective. You really think you can offer something better than what we all have been enjoying here for years?
Sure, you can get a drink here tonight, but then you will be right back tomorrow night, and the next night, and the night after. None of it can solve your real issue.
And you can? Well, please, give me what you have, and I'll never have to come here again. Sorry, Johnny.
Okay, I will. But first, go and get your husband.
I don't have a husband.
Now, it's interesting that you say that.
Then he proceeded to tell me every secret and every mistake that I'd been hiding.
How did he know?
I have no idea, but I just knew that that information would get into the wrong hands and that he would end my engagement.
Your engagement? But you couldn't. Your engagement to whom?
You know to whom. His brother is here and he's been staring daggers at me all night.
Looks could kill.
And I'd be the second victim. You know there's always one in these situations. Anyways, his family's rich and dangerous, so I thought I'd never have to worry about anything again. I just knew that Christopher was going to try to destroy that.
So when you went through the secret passage and said you were going to put it into the game,
You thought I meant Christopher?
you did say it right before the lights went out. So yes,
No, I would never.
you can be honest with me. You thought Christopher would use what he knew to expose or blackmail you.
Yes.
So you stopped him, right? Your secrets have always...
That's the crazy thing. Christopher became my dearest friend. He showed me that I'm more than the mistakes of my past. When I met him, who I wanted to be changed.
But if everyone knew what you had done,
I kept telling myself, if everyone knew, I would be over. If everyone knew, no way they could love me. It kept me running. It kept me from being honest. But Christopher freed me from all that. And I just want everybody to know him and feel the same freedom.
well, if the game was not with him, didn't you mention Miss Ivory was at the jazz club that night?
She was not the only one who knew my secrets. But she did with him exactly what I feared.
Really? She seems like such a flat tire.
More like a peach. Soft on the outside with a large, hard pit on the inside that'll crack your tooth. She's ruthless. I barely have a pin to my name paying her blackmail. I realized that if I believed in the new me that Christopher had given me, it was time to stop letting those secrets win.
So you were going to tell her to scram tonight.
I was, but I wonder if it might have been me that ended up dead instead of Christopher.
You think she could have?
Her husband did die under mysterious circumstances, but I guess she should not be bound by her secrets any more than I am.
It is big of you. You know, you do seem different than before.
I try, though honestly, it's often Christopher's voice I hear in my head sometimes. It's like I can still feel his presence, watching over me.
What?
Look! Go get the detective! Do you see that? There's somebody in there. Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
What are you doing in here?
I heard her screaming. Again.
Right, which begs the question.
What?
What?
What question is begging?
Who's got a question?
Apparently you. You just said, which begs the question.
No, I never beg.
What's going on?
A great question.
There were eyes behind the portrait. I saw them. Look.
Perhaps you're just overstressed.
Oh, you would love that, wouldn't you? Have me locked away with all the crazies, but I know what I saw. Look!
There is something behind it.
It's attached to the wall.
I read about this in a novel once. Try turning things around the room. One may be a secret latch.
Dang it. Mr. Verdant?
Sit down. I got a question for you, Verdant.
What?
What?
You just said. Nah, we're not doing this again. Miss Verdant, why were you in that portrait? Were you spying on us? I mean, this guy in here, alone?
Well, picture this.
Wait! Stop there! The rest of you stay here so I don't have to worry about you.
Running is very suspicious.
Let's go. Hello, Mystery Manor. Oh, hello, Chief Inspector. That's awfully kind of you. But Detective Noir is already here doing such a great job.
What? No.
An admirable job.
No.
A fine job. A job. Detective Noir is already here doing a job, but I bet he would appreciate any extra help that you sent. Yes, he did say something about getting stuck in the mud. What was that? Hello? He's saying something for or about the inspector? I can't really tell.
Okay. Let's see. Yo. Hello? Chief Inspector? No, this... The line has been cut!